All you got to do is be subscribed. $500, 20.
In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto.
Good evening, crypto fam. It is another beautiful Wednesday night for What If Wednesday. We are excited. Miguel, I think, would you agree? This is quite possibly my favorite evening because we get to really kind of debate these ideas in crypto, which is literally our whole name, right? It's Debate Crypto. Is it one of your favorites?
Dude, it is by far my favorite. It's when we can get crazy with some crazy theories about what is happening in crypto and where things are headed. So it's definitely one of the best times to have some wild conversations.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love it. For those of you who aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We are giving away, just as a reminder, we're giving away $500 on December 23rd. All you have to do is be subscribed. So if you're in TikTok right now, do us a favor, do yourself a favor, come over and get some education. But hey, somebody's winning $500. It should be and could be you. All you got to do is subscribe, and we're going to be doing that. Also, if you are in the live chat, just X out. It takes 2 seconds, right? X out, smash the like, come on back. It's the simplest thing you can do to tell YouTube that you actually appreciate what it is we are doing here. So without further ado, Miguel, what is on the podium for What If Wednesday, my brother?
So tonight, right, it's what if the Bitcoin maxis are right? Proof of stake is centralized. NFTs are stealing your money. So what if we were done wrong and we should have listened to the Bitcoin maxis?
You started to say we as if you're one of the Bitcoin maxis. And listen, as my business partner, this is something that I have suspected about you. Okay. I haven't actually really pinned it down that you're a Bitcoin maxi, but you're like walking like a little tightrope, right? That's what I do see. Just a little tightrope where you're like, Bitcoin maxi. I like other stuff. A Bitcoin maxi. I'll take that. Bitcoin maxi. So, Miguel, kick us off. Tell me in your words, what if the Bitcoin maxis are right? And before you jump into what if, explain to me a little bit further. What do you mean?
Yeah. So what I mean is, look, so like you said, right, I've dabbled in that thin line between the Bitcoin maxi and messing around with some other stuff. I have other assets. I have Ethereum, Cardano, yada yada, right? For experimentation of possible gains, proof of stake, right? Smart contracts. But what I mean by why Bitcoin maxis could be right is the simplest thing to do with Bitcoin is you buy it, you hold it, and it's gonna make you money long term, right? It's a money that literally forces you or incentivizes you, it's a better word, incentivizes you to save your money instead of spending your money. We live in a world where we are used to spending. And if we're not spending, it's not useful to us.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest complaint everybody gets about Bitcoin. Oh, nobody wants to spend their Bitcoin. So there's no reason to be holding it because nobody wants to spend it anyway. So it doesn't matter. You're never going to use it. But you don't need to use it. You don't use your savings account every day, but you want one. You should try to have one, right? Try to make some money. Yeah. But this savings account, Bitcoin, will actually get you to some financial independence at some point in the future.
Okay.
So when it comes to the other side is we have Ethereum. Ethereum has been a great project, but it is moving to proof of stake. And proof of stake is a centralized concept that people don't understand. Everybody can let me gather my thoughts here. So for proof of stake to work, you need to run nodes. These nodes are ran by only the people that can afford to own them, right?
Right.
Like ETH, you need 32 ETH. Right now, there's a good amount of people that have 32 ETH. Not everyone, they're not the majority of people, but there is a decent amount out there.
Yeah.
But from this point on, gathering 32 ETH will not be a simple fact ever again.
Yeah, so it's like 150K right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a whale game, right? They're the ones running the nodes. It's not going to be one whale, one node. It's going to be one whale, many nodes. Another whale, many nodes, right? So all the nodes are going to be in a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of whales or so that have accumulated ETH.
Okay.
It gets even more centralized now when these people are running their nodes. They're ran on the cloud, right? You're not going to be running the node inside your computer and never being able to shut your computer down because the node will get turned off. You're going to put it in the cloud. That's just logical.
Right.
Who runs the cloud? Google, Amazon, right? AWS. So now there's even a bigger centralized point. If AWS goes down or Google goes down from anything, there goes your nodes for Ethereum. Boom, nodes just got shut off. Right? These people, Amazon and Google, they're not just here in the United States, they're worldwide. So if something happens to them, or they just say, hey, we don't want to run this Ethereum network, or we don't want to give Ethereum network the bandwidth that they need, they can limit and hurt. They have power over Ethereum.
But hold on. What would be the incentive to that, Miguel? I don't see. So I understand the idea that you're getting at, that this would theoretically be possible. It's kind of like we talked about the election, right? And when the election came around, I don't even remember the name of the site, but basically one of these sites got taken down, right? And literally just shut down, where you just couldn't even get on, you couldn't see it. Drop it in the chat if you know what the name of the website is that I'm talking about. I can't place it for the life of me. Donald Trump was involved in it.
It was a social media app that a lot of conservatives were on, and first Apple took them off the Apple Store. Then they got reinstated, and then Amazon came in from AWS and said, "Hey, we're shutting you off." Parler. There you go, Jonathan. It was Parler.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Yes, it was Parler. Perfect. See, listen, chat. First of all, we love you. Second of all, we appreciate you, and we're glad we pay attention to you, because you guys are the reason we're doing this. And that right there makes the conversation keep flowing. So Jonathan Seaburn, you the man. So check it out. So in that instance, there is a political benefit, depending on the narrative that you're trying to spin, to doing that. Yeah. My question would be, we're talking about Web3. The only positive that I could say, a reason that they would do that, is if these big players like Amazon Web Services, things like that, had basically some sort of a deal with our banking institutions, because so much of the DeFi is run on ETH. That's about the only reason that I could realistically come up with.
There's more reasons to do that.
Okay, talk to me.
Banking system is one big one, right? Banking system can pay them off and say, hey, you're going to have to limit the capacity of validator nodes. You're going to have to, their bandwidth, whatever, slow them down. Another possibility is competitors, whether it's Solana or, tomato, potato, whatever other proof of stake comes around and says, hey, we're going to pay you if you can slow down ETH and give us more bandwidth, give us more room in the competition than Ethereum, right? And at the end of the day, these companies go with the highest bidder. So that is a big possibility. And it's not just what would incentivize to do that, but having that level of centralization. We're talking about crypto being decentralized as much. Yeah. And we're giving these corporations like Amazon and Google the power, once again, to be running the nodes that literally decide what transactions happen, what order they happen in, and so forth. Okay. So at any moment, that is a point of centralization that controls a lot of power. We don't want that. That's not what crypto is for.
I totally agree.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you real quick, though. Don't forget your next point, but let me ask you this. Do you not believe that if necessary, our government could absolutely shut down the internet, like shut it down? I believe that we have a way to do it. I do not believe that if the whole world was about to go up in smoke, or we were going to overpower and it just absolutely needed to happen, I believe we'd have a way to do it. I do.
Yes. I mean, that possibility could exist, that they could shut down the internet. But we've said it before. If the internet gets shut down and we go into a massive,
we got a lot more to worry about.
We're going to have a lot more worries than what is Bitcoin doing, or Ethereum, or even your bank, right? You're not going to go to your bank and pull out your money and say, well, at least I got fiat. Unless you had it under the mattress, it's done. It's goodbye, right? It's time to go get the, the pew-pews and the toothpicks and the pitch and the forks and go outside and fight for your right to survive.
Right. Okay.
So there's going to be bigger problems in that situation.
Yeah.
So the internet being shut off isn't something I'm worried, but these gigantic mega corporations that we know are not doing things for our benefit and are just benefiting themselves will find a way that we're not thinking about right now, we're not even talking about, or even in our smallest amount of imagination. They'll find a way to incentivize themselves to do something that is not beneficial to us, but beneficial to them and harmful to crypto. Okay. So it's just about the points of centralization. Along with Ethereum, right? We've come out with NFTs and all these other points. What are these NFTs and all these other things are doing is they're producing more ways for you to spend your ETH, more ways for you to spend your Cardanos, your whatevers, to spend your altcoins, spend. They're bringing the consumerism into crypto, right? Okay. You don't do that with stocks. You don't spend your stocks on other things.
No, you're right.
You just invest and you try to accumulate as much as you can and grow your portfolio. Now we're investing into NFTs. We're investing into all these, into metaverses, into these other items that are going to promise us more money. But they're all ways of just buying something. There's no real guarantee you're going to be making any type of money off these things. Yes, some people have made money. Of course, there's always the exceptions to the rule. There will always be people that make more money than others. Look at the real estate game, right?
Yeah.
90% of realtors out there are not living the high life of, oh yeah, I'm a big money baller. I have a real estate empire. No, they're a 9-to-5 person working a regular job, living paycheck to paycheck. Only like 10% of all realtors are the ones with the empires of like, yeah, I'm a millionaire off real estate. Like that's just the reality of it.
So hold on. Before we dig farther into this, I do want to tell you, I appreciate how much you love me, but putting my name as yours on the live stream is probably a little overboard, right? But I'll give you a pass just this once, right? But you know what, bro? I just wanted to stop the stream and just tell you for a second, I love you too, bro. It means a lot to me that you look up to me so much that you would put my name on yours. So
that happens when you log into my stuff and you mess my stuff around.
There we go. Hey, who threw that out there? Who was that? Jonathan again? Jonathan, you are the man on this stream tonight. We appreciate you.
CryptoKeeper hacking my stuff, bro. Hacking my stuff.
Check this out, chat. First of all, if you haven't smashed likes, smash a like. Just as a reminder, while we take this just brief break, $500 for being subscribed, December 23rd. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We appreciate each and every one of you. So, okay. So we're talking about the idea that if the Bitcoin maxis were correct, and that basically, Bitcoin in the long term, is the only thing you should hold. Okay. Now, somebody that would be, Michael Saylor would be considered a Bitcoin maxi.
Max Kaiser.
Yes. Bitcoin maxi. Twitter.
Jack Dorsey. Yeah.
Bitcoin maxi. So ultimately, we don't need to get into all the Bitcoin maxis, but ultimately what they think is that like it starts and ends with Bitcoin. And what Miguel ultimately is suggesting is that the whole idea behind the altcoins, and this is what I think you're suggesting, is that the whole idea behind the altcoins is to accumulate more Bitcoin. So basically, we're buying altcoins to then buy other things and basically send our ETH out, maybe make some money on those transactions and or trades. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we should be doing, if this is correct, is we should be making profits, Bitcoin, profits, Bitcoin, profits, Bitcoin. Yep. I guess my question would be this then, Miguel. How is Web3 actually going to operate at that point? Because here's the deal. You know this as well as I do. Bitcoin currently, no smart contracts, right? They ultimately have working on the ability to do so, but there's not smart contracts right now. So this decentralized finance would be out the window, right? Yes. These smart contracts, obviously, as part of out the window. NFTs out the window. So ultimately, I think the metaverse and essentially what's going on currently with the metaverse right? It just kind of says see ya to everything. So I would challenge the fact that this future that we have coming is going to be so wildly different than what we know the daily, human race to be right now, and the things that we do and we don't do. I think it's going to be so wildly different that I actually would argue that the other way around might even make more sense, that all of these other coins are ultimately at some point going to get in front of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will still be there. Bitcoin will still be an absolute beast, but it will just be like gold, right? It's not going to be Amazon. It's not going to be Meta. It's not going to be this top. It's not going to be Apple. It's not going to be Microsoft. Where those are going to be the ETH, the Solana, the Avalanche. These projects that are actually doing something. And the only way that I see that being any different, this is the only way I see that not happening. The only way I see that not happening is if Bitcoin comes along and starts actually being utilized on a regular basis, and or is in like put smart contracts in play, right? Actually starts to be built on top of, because right now it's definitely not. It's not at all. It's just there for you to, store value. And it was supposed to be peer-to-peer cash, cashless payment systems, which it still can be, but people see the value in it so much that they're not doing that. So it kind of kills that side of the deal for the most part. So the only way I see that, Miguel, is if we actually start building on top of Bitcoin. And with how the transactions are, at least right now, hey, it's just that's not gonna do it.
So my argument here is I'm not saying that the rest of the crypto space doesn't have its place. I'm just saying they all belong under Bitcoin, right? Your priority should be Bitcoin.
Okay.
And and the reason why I'm saying this is because I see people in the chat, right? Oh, I'm going to buy ETH because, yes, ETH will technically make you more gains in the short term, right? For versus Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But everything else outside of Bitcoin incentivizes you to spend it. Ethereum, Metaverse, NFTs, smart contracts, all we're seeing being built on it are these NFTs and these situations that incentivize you to spend it. I understand DeFi is a little bit different, but you're taking a lot more risk onto DeFi. Right? We see what these DAOs have been doing. You're throwing your money on there, hoping you're not the last person to pull out and get dumped on, right?
Yeah.
So everything incentivizes you to put your money somewhere or spend your money somehow in hopes of more returns later. And this is what happens to people to stay poor. You're continuously spending, hoping for a greater something later down the line. Bitcoin is the only crypto that does not incentivize you to spend. It incentivizes you to save, to accumulate and hold, And that is what scares governments more than anything else. That's why no government is worried about any other crypto right now except for Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is the one thing governments want you to get your money and spend it. Get your money and spend it into the economy. If you're buying Bitcoin, you're not spending it. You're spending your cash for Bitcoin, and you're holding that Bitcoin for a long period of time. So that's the problem with ETH, right? People are not going to be able to accumulate enough ETH. Other cryptos are going to come out with more NFTs. We've seen Crow, right? Crypto.com now having a bunch of NFTs on them. So what are you doing? Yeah. You're spending your Crow. You're doing whatever to buy more NFTs, buy Metaverse plots of land. And I'm not saying that there's no way of making money off these things.
Right.
There are ways to make money off these things.
Yeah.
But the purpose of the game, right, just like the casinos are, yes, you can make lots of money in the casino, but you're being pushed towards a way of spending the level of consumerism that we see in regular life in the crypto game. Versus when the crypto game started, it was about buying and holding, and saving and accumulating to grow financial independence in the long term. Versus we're getting the narrative is being shifted away from that, and it's being shifted into spending on all these things that are just big distractions. So if people are over diversified just in crypto, now they're even more over diversified by throwing all this money at NFTs, at every metaverse game that comes out, right? Because that's another thing that's happened. Now everything is a metaverse. Any game that comes out, they
Right. You
slap
can
the
buy
word.
land and everything.
You
Yeah.
can buy land or whatever. Hey, this is a metaverse. This is a metaverse. That's not what really the metaverse is, right? The metaverse isn't about that.
Yeah.
But everything is being pushed as a metaverse with the promise of you're gonna make money. We saw Illuvium. Yes, I'm excited for the game. I'm gonna play it, but I'm not gonna buy land. The cheapest piece of land was like 5 ETH. That's a lot of money that I'm not gonna invest into a video game in hopes that that game is gonna make me lots of money. There's gonna be a lot of people that make money off of it, getting guaranteed, but it's incentivizing you to take a bigger risk on your portfolio when there's all these games coming out and you never know if they're going to succeed or not. And it's a lot more risk onto your portfolio than it is when you're holding and buying Bitcoin, where it's incentivizing you to save, save, save. The worst thing that can happen to Bitcoin is it goes down and you have to buy more. Get rid of more fiat, which is trash, and buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Get rid of more fiat, more Bitcoin. Everything else, you're risking losing your investments and then staying the way you always been, poor.
Yeah. Broke. Yeah. The only way that I could see the Bitcoin narrative really making sense for both the governments and the people is to make Bitcoin the world reserve currency. Now, when I say it makes sense for the governments, it doesn't make sense for the governments under the standpoint, under the idea that they don't have the massive amount of control over it, right? That doesn't make sense. But if the government's idea or the people's idea is actually to take back that power and actually take back what we should have, in my estimation, all along, if we were able to take that back and people actually could see that, hey, this isn't being manipulated. This is all on a public blockchain. We are doing voting on the blockchain. We are literally looking at a society that is wide open, so to speak. I could see it being the reserve, to whatever the monetary, system is. I could see that. And in that case, I could see it not being as scary. I think right now, there's so many question marks as to what this is, what the crypto space as a whole really is. It's wild, Miguel. It started off when we read the Bitcoin Standard. We always talk about that, right? When we talk to our Debate Crypto Academy, right? We have the debatecrypto.academy for learning and getting involved with the community and actually like really bringing yourself up in education and doing seminars with us and all of these great things with the academy. One of the things that we teach on the front end is like, hey, this is what Bitcoin originally was for. And it was a peer-to-peer cashless payment system, right? That's what it was. And now things have literally just absolutely just flopped to a totally different place. We have so many different cryptocurrencies. You were just talking about the metaverses, for example. Each of these metaverses or games, let's use Gold Fever, for example. We like the Gold Fever game. They have their own token, right? NGL, okay? And that token is being mined in the game, which can then ultimately, there's going to need some trades and whatnot involved, but ultimately that's going to be able to be traded at the end of the line for what people would call real money. Well, here's what I think is happening though. I think people are genuinely seeing crypto as real money, right? And I think at some point, if we continue to go in the way that we're moving, I think that it's not going to be, hey, I'll give you $50 to do this. It's going to be, hey, I'll give you, and we'll just get used to the fact that an ETH is an ETH is an ETH. Bitcoin is a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. Now it might have more value, less value, whatever. But if we actually move to that standard, let me throw an idea out there for kind of to make this even a little bit clearer. Miguel, you and I are in business together and we've been buying NFTs together, right? And so we've moved money around and done things and all of that. Okay, cool. On one of the transactions that you and I had, there was basically a 0.12 ETH that went one way or the other between us, right? And when I first thought about it, my thought was, hey, there's $500 that hasn't been accounted for. So, just give me $500, or I'll just give you $500, or however that looked, right? But the reality was it was 0.12 ETH. And if you wait any time past that transaction time, the 0.12 ETH is worth, usually it could have been less because it could have gone down, but it's worth more, significantly more than it was when we bought it. And so I had to think of in terms of ETH, right? And so why I think it's so scary is because what we're saying to our government is, we have a better solution. We have a way to do this. We don't need you, right? We can hold a hardware wallet and do this all on our own. If enough people agree that this has value, then we literally can give the government the big old, up yours, right? And I think that's what's scary. I think they're saying, what is this? Where is this headed? We see Bitcoin right now as a store of value, but it didn't start as that. It started over here. We saw ETH as what it was originally, and now all of a sudden it's like the king of decentralized finance, which is a huge hindrance to the banks. So ultimately what I'm getting at in a really long way is, we don't know what this is, and neither do, in a very high level, neither do the governments or the banking institutions, and they are scared. And so if the Bitcoin maxis, to kind of bring this back around, if the Bitcoin maxis were right and Bitcoin was the only way, I think that it would take some of those question marks out of it. That Bitcoin would just be whatever it is, right? Whatever that becomes, and then that's what it is. I think the problem right now is there's so many different cryptos that do so many different things, and so many people agree on their value, that it's like, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Right. DeFi is a huge proponent. I'm super bullish on DeFi. It allows you to pull out all these crypto loans, right? Take out loans on your Bitcoin, so therefore you never have to get hit with capital gains, yada yada yada. Right. So it has a huge hindrance to the banks, which is a big plus in my book, and I'm super bullish about that. But the whole thing is that everything outside of Bitcoin pushes you toward a deeper point of centralization, especially anything that's proof of stake, right? As Ethereum is now moving to proof of stake, it's still proof of work, so it's more decentralized now, but it'll be more centralized once it becomes proof
Yeah,
of
it will.
stake. And it incentivizes people to spend. You're being distracted by all these things to spend. And I agree with people in the comments talking about using some of your money to put into ETH right now, make lots of money.
Yeah.
But then I would say, put that back into Bitcoin, right? What I'm saying is, use the altcoins in the short to medium term to make you money.
As a tool.
Yeah, as a tool to then accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. There's always going to be some new other crypto project that comes out one way or another.
Right.
Always new projects coming out, new proof of stake projects, new metaverses, new whatever. But there will only ever be one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest importance, is that one Bitcoin. There's only 21 million of them. So whatever you got, once they're all mined, is what you got. You're only going to be fighting for crumbs after that. But there will always be another Ethereum killer, another metaverse, another whatever, meme coin. There's always going to be more of those, so you can buy and sell in the short term to medium term. But people that are not taking advantage of accumulating Bitcoin because, it's not going to make me rich tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to 100x my Bitcoin position, I believe are making a big mistake by not holding Bitcoin in their portfolios. Obviously, nothing that we're speaking about here is financial advice, but that is just my personal opinion when it comes to mitigating risk and understanding the true values behind these cryptos. Bitcoin is the only one that incentivizes you to save and accumulate long term. Everything else incentivizes you to spend, and you're only going to see more of that spending feature as crypto gets bigger and bigger. So Web 3.0, more metaverses, more whatever, they're all going to be incentivizing you to spend, because when you're inside these metaverses, you're always going to want to have the latest and coolest gear to flex on people.
Yeah.
Right. That was going to cause you to spend more ETH, or spend more Matic, or spend more Solana, whatever network it's built on, more Binance, whatever. Right. We saw it with Crypto Blades. When I got into Crypto Blades, gigantic promises of money. what did they start? What did that development team started to do? They just started to create more ways on making money wells, right? Pits where you throw your money in, throwing your money into the game. The developers are getting value out of that, out of everything
Yeah.
they're buying, everything they're selling to you, and you're just losing more money in hopes that you're going to eventually be able to dig yourself out of that hole through the profits of the game. But the
Yeah.
game never became as profitable again that you're ever going to actually recuperate that money. And that is what happens with a lot of these play to earns. Not saying that this will always be the case. I'm sure there will be some cases that they will make lots of money and will be profitable long term. But the point is, everything else incentivizes you to spend and is more centralized.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is the only thing that's decentralized and incentivizes you to save.
Yeah. Everybody in the chat talking about my girlfriend claiming them to be their side chick or their wife or whatever. I'm going to have a talk with my girl, right? I've got her name plastered on my hat, on my wall over here. I've talked about it on BitBoy Crypto. I claimed her well before any of you. So let's just be clear. That's my girl. Okay. If that's your wife, she's cheating on you, bro. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. All right. Miguel, I can totally respect the idea behind what you're saying. I think the interesting thing will be, and I think this is where it will kind of, we'll figure out what things are. The interesting thing will be what does happen, because we do need people spending. We do need it, right? Like, I understand that the economy is based on, we are set up to be geared towards spending. But the reality is there's a reason, there's two reasons why that narrative is pushed. But one of those two reasons is because if there's not money flowing through an economy, it dies, right? So we can't have Bitcoin and only Bitcoin, right? We have to have something that people are willing to actually spend on a regular basis, unless we go back to just straight up bartering, right? Because at the end of the day, you do have to buy and sell goods to continue to, because what are we going to do then? We're going to start,
Yes.
am I going to start
So,
farming all my own food or what?
I mean, so what you just said, right? You need to have another currency that people are willing to spend. If you're willing to spend one currency over the other currency, automatically that currency that you are
Which
willing
one's
to
better?
spend is inferior to the one that you're not willing to spend, right? If you have gold and silver and you're willing to, okay, I'll part with some of my silver for other goods and services, but I don't want to part with my gold. Automatically that means that gold is more important to you or to anyone than the silver. Same thing with Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin is the one that you say, well, I really don't want to spend this, but I'm willing to spend some ETH on NFTs. I'm willing to spend some Crow on some NFTs or Metaverse or whatever. Automatically, you're saying all of these other cryptos are inferior in value to Bitcoin because that's the one you're not willing to spend.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? Bitcoin is not is not an economy, right?
Right.
The economy is the economy. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin plays a role and can help you participate in the economy by making you money one way or another, yada yada. But that's not what Bitcoin is meant. Bitcoin is for you to hold and make money long term through value increasing. Right.
I've been
So you
very
don't ever spend your Bitcoin and everybody keeps buying it and the supply keeps lower and lower and the demand stays the same and the supply keeps dying out and dying out. Bitcoin is just going to be worth more and more
right.
and more
Agreed.
and more.
Agreed, for sure. It's just supply and demand built into the fact that there's only 21 million and people are continuing to want it more and more. I've been very clear about one thing, and that is that I believe that the only way that we get our the dollar, whatever that looks like, whether it's a digital dollar, whether it's actually the utilization of crypto as forms of payment, I've been really clear about one thing. I think the only way that we get our nation and our world back on track is essentially to crush it for some amount of time. And I don't see any way that we pull out of the massive amount of debt that we're in. I don't see how we pull out of all of the utter chaos. I mean, literally, Miguel, you ever heard of the movie Narnia? What's it called? Narnia? Is it called Narnia?
I don't know what movie you're trying to tell
Lion,
me
the Witch,
about.
and the Wardrobe. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? they go to this place called Narnia, right? Where these people are like half animal, half person. And it's like this like mystical world. Miguel, I'm not kidding you. Are we in freaking Narnia right now? Some of the things that I see and hear on the news that people literally say, like with a straight face, I literally look at it and I'm like, this kid, nah, bro. We're either in the Matrix or we've got a lot of people that literally are on some crazy form of drugs that has their mind wigged out. Now, what am I getting at by that? What I'm getting at is I think that financially, right, something has to change in a really big way. If we move over, and I don't know how this looks because I'm not actually an economist. I've just been in this for a long time. I've studied this a lot. You know, I dive really deep into the history and the actual education side of this. That's what we're all about. But I don't know what it looks like, nor do I think a lot of other people would either, even if they are truly an economist. What does it look like to switch over to basically get rid of fiat and switch over to either a CBDC, right, central bank digital currency, or just a stable coin? Because we've never done it before. But there has to be implications, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, people are at a certain level of living and have a means of financial wherewithal that one person versus the next is going to be different. And unless we're going full on socialism, which I don't see that ever working, right, which would do this supposedly, right, I don't see any way besides absolutely crushing things and kind of starting back over that we actually get to a point where we are again in a stable economy where things are just absolutely just, you know, cruising, rocking along. I just don't see it.
I mean, yeah, for that shift to happen, when a big shift happens, a big transition of any kind, whether it's the economy or anywhere, technology, right? We're going through one right now with the technology revolution that's happening. People are losing jobs and jobs are being replaced by automation.
Yeah.
That is a rough transition.
Yeah.
Same thing will happen with the economy. If they do a transition to a CBDC or something else or some other kind to fix this fiat spending problem, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. So what I was trying to say, what I'm trying to point at is that whatever it is, it's going to hurt. I don't know, but even if we switch to a CBDC, that's not going to fix the problem. The problem is that the government cannot, if they get rid of their spending power or the power of just creating money out of thin air and spending it, they're losing a huge portion of their power. And if we know something from any government is once they've gotten their hands around a new level of power, they're not going to downgrade, right? Yeah. What did Caesar do when Caesar became emperor because of the war? Hey, well, you know, it's only going to be a dictatorship until the war's over.
Yeah.
Then I'll give it up, how they're supposed to be done every single time after that. And he said, you know what? I'm going to change things around. I'm not giving this up. And power corrupts, right? So having these governments having this spending power, no matter what we transition into, they're always going to be like, so how can we bring these old features into this new system, right? Because, cool concept. I love it, but I really need this feature, right? I've worked for a lot of companies, and they've always had some level of remodeling from old technologies to new, and that is literally the first questions that everybody asks is like, okay, awesome. I'm super on board about this new technology we're bringing on. It's going to make the working process a lot better. But
how do we do
this previous feature that I had, I really need you guys to implement it in here.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute, it doesn't work that way. This is meant to replace all these features. You'll have something different that is better. And they're like, everyone's always said the same thing. No. I need whatever this is exactly over here. So make it happen.
Right.
And that's what the governments are going to do with them.
I totally see it. And actually, I think it's really interesting. It kind of ties in here. Roy says, no crypto will become a serious currency as long as I have a tax event if I spend it. Not happening. Roy, first of all, agree with you. But second of all, what if we're on What If Wednesday? So let me just throw this out there. What if we didn't have the insane tax system that we have now, right? What if part of this change was this? What if it was, listen, we don't have all these crazy taxes coming in on our income, this, that, the third, the property taxes, blah, blah, blah. There's just a flat tax on every time you make a transaction with your Bitcoin or your central bank digital currency or whatever. I have seen people talk about a universal flat tax, and there are obviously, drawbacks to it. But there are a lot of positive things that come from it, because the reality is, and Roy's right here, like, we get taxed, and we've talked about this a lot before. We get taxed when we get paid, right, on the top line. Then I go buy a pizza and I get taxed on the pizza. Then I got to drive home and I got to stop at the gas station and I get taxed on the gas on the way home. Then when I'm on the way home, I have a flat tire and I got to call for a tow. And when I pay for the tow, I get taxed. Literally, we took a top line dollar and we have taxed it all the way down to oblivion. And so, though I agree with how it's set up right now, Roy, I think that will change, or could change, right? I didn't mean to do that. I think that it could change if we literally made a full on just transition out of our monetary system right now, which ultimately, and again, like I'm saying, I don't know how we get back to any sort of normalcy without changing our full on monetary policy.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't ever see it happening, whether we go to the digital dollar or whatever. It's just going to be a new implementation of the old system in higher tech. It's not going to, it's the outer might look different, it might feel different, it might sound different, but the inner workings are going to be the same old
You think it's
bones,
going to be
right?
the same? Yeah.
So that's exactly how I see it. I don't actually see any big real change happening, because they just won't give up that power until it doesn't completely combust or implode and they completely lose control of everything, and there's a whole new overhaul of everything because it's completely crashed. Then but at that point we won't even be a country. We would have to be we would have to go back into like third world country status to then be able to accumulate ourselves into first world country power. And I don't even think any country's ever done that in its histories in the world.
So what if we went through and answered the questions in the chat to finish out the stream for What If Wednesday? What do you think, Miguel?
Yeah, that's good. That sounds good.
Let's get after it. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. If they shut down, I'm literally going to go through. We're going to answer these real quick. Without going too deep into them, we're going to answer these. If they shut down the grid, how can they keep you under control? I will say I agree with you to an extent, but at the same time, they control you by not allowing Miguel and I, for example, that have like-minded individuals, right? They allow us not to communicate. And I think that would be one of the best ways actually to control you. If Miguel and I are all hyped up and we're able to communicate and we're able to organize and we're able to talk to all of our people and say, no, we're not going to stand for this. We're going to meet here, bring your, and we're able to organize. But guess what? Just a thought. What if you couldn't do that?
Yes.
What if they did shut that down?
People don't understand. We live in a world that's very disconnected. Everybody knows each other, but live nowhere near each other, right? And it feels like you live right next to that person because you're always on the phone, you're on a web conference, whatever, and you're always in communication over the internet, yada, yada, yada. But if that shuts down, all those people that you don't know in real life, if you don't know your neighbors, if you don't know the people in your proximity, you don't know anybody. So now you're isolated in a world of chaos, and you can no longer organize yourself to prepare for whatever's coming. So that is a huge way of control, is by completely disconnecting you. Because now, instead of focusing on our inner communities and the people around us, we focus on people very far away from us. And we're like, oh yeah, we are prepared if whatever happens, because I know X, Y, and Z here, there, and over there. But all those people are going to go away when you can no longer talk to them.
Yeah, totally, dude. I'm with it. I think it would be really interesting. And actually, just by chance, this is from the same Kerboy, Kerboy. I don't know how you say that. Crypto's trying and succeeding in getting a piece of lots of different action, real estate in the real world, and you name it. There's projects in the works. Yeah, listen, I think that ultimately, as you say, crypto, I think your literally home sales are going to be on the blockchain someday. I think that your deed to your home is going to be an NFT. I think that ultimately, obviously, we have land sales in the metaverse. We have digital ownership of just about everything. I think that you're right. We have a lot that is happening in that space, and yeah, crypto is getting a piece of just about all of the action. Let's see here, a couple more. I think we have. Let's see
There's a
here.
good one right here.
Good.
Do you believe the metaverse is the new .com bubble? The metaverse, NFTs, and every X, Y, and Z meme coin out there, they're all bubbles, right? They're all going to deflate. They're all going to explode. They're not that they're going to go away forever, but only a few will actually survive. Only a few metaverses will actually thrive, right? How many video games come out every year, but how many of them are actually around the following year with a community behind them still playing the game?
Yeah,
right? There's
not
very
many.
few games that survive that long.
Yeah.
If not, they have a new iteration to keep you interested. But the same game does not survive long enough. Only few games actually survive. There's only a few games that I know off the top of my head that are 6, 7, 8 years old, and no new iterations have come out, and people are still playing that game.
Yeah.
Right? Those are few games that do that. Same thing will happen with metaverses. Same thing will happen with NFTs. You see thousands of NFTs being dropped every day. That will go away.
Yeah.
And the cream will
rise to the top.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're going to go away, and only a few NFT projects will survive, and people will actually be talking about it when everything is down in the dumps.
Yeah, and as far as NFTs, I think it's going to be more just use case. It's going to be actually my driver's license, things like that is what's going to be the
real
big
estate stuff like that will definitely be.
Yeah, for sure. Crypto Dubsky says, isn't some of this stuff good to bring more and more people into the space? And hope is you catch the bug and educate themselves. Yeah, check it out. We have debatecrypto.academy, right? We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. We have a community of people that are learning. We did a hangout today. We were talking NFTs today, right? It's in video with myself, BlockchainCrusader. Every single Sunday, we do seminars. Guys, debatecrypto.academy if you are looking to catch the bug, right? And we're working together as a community to ultimately educate ourselves, and we're doing technical analysis, everything, so that we are ready for this upcoming bear market that we believe is coming
also
fast.
To that point, right? All these things, all these trinkets that they shine in front of you are also a way of deception, right? They bring you in with all these shiny little meme coins and how you can, rocket to the moon instantly, and all these NFTs and all these metaverses. And then when you end up losing your bottom dollar, you're like, oh man, this crypto stuff is a scam. This thing is cat girl, whatever, this and that, Santa coin, all these things are trash. I'm just going to stay with dollars and invest in the stock market. It is a ploy from within the system of getting your attention to make you lose money, to then make you run back to the devil, right? To the one that you're comfortable with on the regular basis. So be very careful with that.
We're working on
long way to go on that one.
We're working on it. It's only been a few days. Cut me some slack. It's only been a few days. We got anything else in the chat, Miguel?
Not questions, but we do have a good thing here. It says by nature it's centralized. It's the same system we are in now. If you are rich, you get to decide the direction of the ecosystem. Proof of work is based on total consensus.
So hold on. Let me jump in there. I agree, but check this out, okay? DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, are like there's like one of these new buzzwords, right? But the reality is, if you look into what they are, it is basically it is giving voting rights to the holders. What if, Miguel, right? What if Wednesday? What if DAOs start running all of these nodes? What if these nodes change from the 32 ETH, for example? What if they change from 32 ETH to these basically 1,000 ETH, but we have this many people in the DAO for each 1,000, for each 1,000 ETH or whatever? That, my friend, would be dope.
That would be dope, but will it happen? Is the question.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. But what if it did?
But we're nowhere near that thought process of even making
I
that
just
happen,
thought it.
right?
I just
I mean,
thought
I
it.
know you just thought it, but you're not writing the code for these things, so it's
I'm
not
not.
going to happen anytime soon.
Okay.
So I don't see it happening anytime soon. It's a good idea. I like it. Right? There's a whole another there's a DAO out there that they're trying to create a DAO to basically buy an NBA basketball team and own the team within the DAO, which would be super cool. We can be part of a DAO that literally owns a professional basketball team, and we have rights on like what decisions happen for that
That
basketball
sounds
team.
great.
Right? Everybody
Sounds
locks
great.
their money in there, and you buy the team, right? Just
That
how they
sounds
try to
great.
buy a constitution with it. But then there's problems with that. The problem is the NBA probably wouldn't go for it. They're the ones that get to decide who buys the team or not.
Well,
Doesn't
then
matter
good.
how
We'll
much
just buy
money
the
you
NBA, bro.
have. Just buy up all the NBAs, all the
We'll
teams,
just put
the
all
whole
the teams at
organization.
once, the whole thing. We'll just buy the whole NBA, and then we'll decide what we do.
Yeah, but also the problem with the DAOs is you need to trust the code in the DAOs, right? Look what happened to Snow Dog Bank or whatever it was that we were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about a
yeah,
few days
yeah.
ago,
Uh-huh.
right? They were like, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna do all this crazy, amazing stuff. Oh, it's a DAO, it's decentralized, everybody gets voting rights, yada yada yada," and then they got rug pulled. So
Yeah,
you need to be
yeah,
the code needs to be very heavily audited to be trusted at that level.
yeah. Let's finish it off with this. This is a good one. Crypto Dubsky again. In regard to the tax convo, do you think one should consider not selling tops to try to accumulate more in the bear market if positions are short-term status? What I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding this a little bit, but what I would say is this. The ultimate best case scenario for your question is you buy bottoms, sell tops, buy bottom, sell tops. And the ultimate best situation is you buy every bottom and sell every local top, buy every local bottom, sell every, right? But that's just not real life, right? We're never going to get to that. But the reality, and this is where I struggle, right? I've got a bunch of ETH. Miguel and I always talk about, game planning, and that's what we talk about in Debate Crypto in the academy, right? We're all about game planning, after the education, right? Part of the problem is this. What happens when at some point we fall out of the cyclical pattern that crypto has been in? What happens, right, when I sell out of 80 or 90% of my ETH position? Now, albeit I bring in a freaking lot of money from it, right? But not nearly what it would be if I just sat on it from now until, 10, 15 years from now, right? So the problem is you don't know when the market is just going to basically take over and continue to just slowly go up and up and up and up and up and turn into essentially the stock market, which does occasionally have some corrections, but not 90% or whatever. And so it is a risk every single time. As much as we are proponents because we believe heavily in the upcoming bear market, it is a risk every single time you take profits. Miguel, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so he's talking about like short-term capital gains. Like, is
Mm,
it a smart idea to take
mm,
short-term capital
mhm.
gains to then be
Yeah,
buying back up in the bear market, or just
yeah,
hold until you
right.
get to until you get to the long-term capital gains
Depends on your
status, and
positions.
right? So, like you said, I agree with you, Nick, about if you can sell the top, sell the top, even though there's a 30% capital gains tax on it. If you're making profit, you're making profit. Whether it's you're doubling your position, tripling your
Yeah,
position, whatever, you're gonna make that extra cash even after the 30% tax or whatever it
right.
is gets taken from you,
Yeah,
that you can use in the bear market to be able to at least double up, or even triple up your original position in that
yeah,
same asset. So it's
right.
always a good idea. But at the end of the day, you have to mitigate that risk for yourself, because you're also risking that maybe we never drop to a low point enough where you
Mhm.
can actually be beneficial to
Reaccumulate.
buy back in, to
Yeah,
reaccumulate and double up your position. Also, you could just hold, right? You could just hold throughout the bear market and hold down all the way down, and then in the next bear market, in the next bull market, you're going to be making massive profits, right? Because that price point
yeah,
is going to be a lot higher than what it was previously. So
yeah.
it all depends on what you're comfortable with. You got to make at the end of the day the decision that you can sleep with at night. So if you can sleep with taking the 30% capital gains, go for it. If you can't, don't do it, because that's at the end of the day, it's your money, and you're the ones that have to live with that decision.
Crypto fam, it has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Again, we appreciate each and every one of you. We come on here multiple days a week. We're pumping out lots of videos every single day to help educate you and also to give you some fun and really insightful commentary. And we hope that you feel that. We hope that you can see that that's what we're doing. If you are interested in getting a little more personal with that, we do have, I don't know, around 50 people in our academy right now that are learning more and more every day. We would love to add you to that. But just as a reminder, guys, make sure that you smash a like for us. It really does help. It tells TikTok, well, TikTok, you can smash a like too. It tells YouTube that you like what we have to offer and that that you are wanting to be a part of what we're doing and you want to see more of it.
Yeah,
So
drop a comment. Drop a comment after the video. Share it with your friends. Share it on your Twitter. Share it on your Instagram. Send it to your friends through a text message. Whatever. All of that helps. Greatly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because we have the $500 giveaway 2 days before Christmas, and all you need to do to enter is hit that subscribe button, guys. So
that's right.
$500, zero risk, best investment possible.
Super simple, guys. So listen, if nobody's told you before today, we love you. We appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, hodl like it's hot.